Hi, if you're looking for a job opportunity, you're soon to graduate or you recently graduated and you've been looking for a job, this video is for you. My name is Pam Cherry and I am going to be taking you through some job search tips. Now, what I want to start off by saying is that I have engaged with a lot of graduates who have been looking for opportunities. I've worked with those who have graduated and found opportunities, as well as those who continue to search. And this presentation and this video that I'm going to be sharing is based on my experience with working with graduates who are looking for employment, as well as conversations I've had with employers and exposure to the graduate employer network. So, first of all, I want to start off by getting you out of the mindset of generic job applications. And when I speak to a lot of graduates who are getting it wrong, the problem comes when you are sending out your CV to any and everywhere. You can't remember the companies that you've applied to. You probably send thousands of applications every single day. You can't even remember the job titles or the graduate programs that you have applied for. That is generic job searching, and we want to step away from that mindset. Today's video that I'm taking you through today is really going to show you some tips to have a more targeted approach to your job search. There are different ways to go about job searching, and what I've put together here are tips that I have found to be very effective when you're looking for graduate employment. So, in order to be targeted in your job search, to be specific and move away from generic, the first thing you want to do is to be able to engage with your story. You want to be able to ask yourself and do an introspection about the things that make up your story, the things that when you are sitting in front of a recruiter, you're able to speak about, and they will be able to get to know who you are, what drives you, and what opportunities that you're actually seeking, what type of value you can bring to their organization. So if you're going to sit in an interview and you haven't done the introspection, it will show. When you're doing your job applications, generic applications are very clear to spot out because you can see when someone hasn't taken the time out to really reflect on what they are looking for. And with the competition that exists right now for opportunities, you want to make sure that you're fully engaged with your story. And if you think about it, when you graduate and you just look at your class that is graduating with you, everyone who is walking away with the same qualification as you, those people are going to be applying for similar roles as you, as well as graduates from other universities within your country, as well as international graduates as well, because we now live in a global world where you can actually work remotely. And so not only are you competing against locals, but you might be competing against graduates from other countries and other markets. And so you really want to be able to engage with your story so that you are able to present that person. So when you're thinking about what your story is, you can do this quick exercise, which is a way that you can discover your why. And what you want to do here is you want to engage yourself around your strengths, your interests, your values, and you want to be very specific to yourself and you want to be honest with yourself. So what you're going to ask is, what am I good at? You're going to list your strengths. It might be that you are good at engaging with people. It might be that you are good at solving problems. It might be that research is a strong point for you. How do you know the things that you're good at? You can speak to your peers to give you their thoughts. You can speak to your mentor if you have one, tutors who might have tutored you in the past, your lecturers. If you think about what subjects you were strong at, so you can actually go back and think of modules that you did that really you were able to see strengths that you had when you had to work in groups. What were you good at when you were working in a group? Um, some people are good at writing. Others are good at creative thinking, creative writing. Others are good at taking photos. There's so many things that you will find that you are good at, and you want to list as many things as possible. So 8 to 10 things that you are good at. And then you want to think about the things that actually interest you. What are the things that when you go to bed, you can't stop thinking about? The things that you actually enjoy, that you want to get involved in, that you're naturally drawn towards. You want to write those things down. So maybe you're interested in blogging, or you are interested in making things and using your hands, breaking things apart and fixing them together. Maybe you're interested in journalism and you love covering stories, you love sharing stories. What are the things that interest you? Do you enjoy being in a lab when you're at university? Was that something you found interesting? Um, you really want to interrogate what your interests are. And you're going to think about things that might be career related, academic things from your university time or your time as a student, and also things that interest you outside of your professional self. So you want to really discover all the parts of you that you already know and can access about yourself, but to sit down and actually reflect on them. What do I want to get out of my first job? What do you want? A lot of people, when asked this question, the first thing that they'll say is, I just want to get a job that will pay me for me to be able to start to be independent. Yes, okay, so that's one thing. But what else? What else do you want to get out of your job? Do you want to um, go up a steep growth curve, so you want to learn very quickly, you want to join an organization that will challenge you and give you the opportunity to grow fairly quickly? Do you want to develop a skill? So if you are in say, for instance, you studied information technology. Do you want to go and pick up a specific skill at your first ever job? Do you want to work in a group? Do you want to work independently? Do you enjoy working with people? So do you want to be in a role that allows you to engage with diverse people? Do you want to travel? Think about all the things that you want to get out of your first job. And how do you want to feel in your first job? Do you want to feel supported? Do you want to feel autonomous? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel like you are able to be curious and to learn? What are the things that you want to feel in your job? So once you're able to do this reflection, then you are able to get a full sense of who you are, what you're good at, what your values are, what is important to you, and what you want to get out of your first job. Once you've done your introspection, it's very important for you to actually conduct research before you even start applying for jobs. A lot of people graduate and just start applying without doing deep research into what roles actually exist, what speaks to them. And so the backbone of your applications is actually your research. What career clusters exist for your qualification? What career path stands out to you? So for you to actually just go onto Google and say, I have a marketing qualification. What are the different areas within marketing that I can go into? What are the different areas within supply chain and logistics? What are the different areas within IT? What are the different areas that actually are available for you to apply for? If you studied marketing, it might be PR, it might be communication, it could be digital marketing, and that will be the same across various industries. Is your qualification or are your skills transferable? So if you have studied engineering, if you were to go work at a bank, what would that mean? Is that the area you want to go into? Maybe you don't actually want to qualify as an engineer, but you want to use your engineering qualification to transfer your skills to go into the banking sector. So you want to see what are the different skills that people who have traditionally studied what you've studied have then transitioned into that might not be directly related to what you studied. What jobs are available for a graduate of your qualification? Look locally, look international. What are the jobs that are actually available? What do they look like? Are they remote? Do you have to physically work there? Is this something that you could potentially find yourself doing? And you'll find that there are countless opportunities that you actually weren't made aware of when you were studying that you'll find just from doing your research. And LinkedIn is a very good resource to go and find these opportunities so that you're able to work from a place of research and having known what actually exists out there that meets and matches your needs. So what jobs interest you? And here you can go back to your reflection and start to see your strengths. Which ones are aligned to your strengths? Which ones match your interests that you put there? And to really look at the content of these jobs and to say, is this work that I would actually see myself doing on a day-to-day basis? And look at the context of these environments, these companies, and these roles. Is this the type of context you can see yourself fitting into and thriving or feeling challenged and growing in? What experience do these roles that you're finding, what do they require? And to make note of that, it's very important during your research phase, before you've even started applying, to really look at what skills and experience they're searching for. Is there one skill you could potentially go and brush up on? Is there something you could learn while you are job hunting that can just set you apart? So you want to be able to see where there's skills gaps, but we'll get to that. So different opportunities you could search for: voluntary work, unpaid internships, paid internships, remote work, freelance opportunities, contract jobs, consulting jobs, graduate programs. Um, in some cases, they're called internship programs, so you'd have to just see the difference there. Youth accelerator programs, entry-level jobs. There are different types of opportunities for you once you graduate. And in some cases, while you're job hunting and you don't have a job, there's no harm in taking up a voluntary work experience. You're not losing anything. If anything, you're gaining networks, you're gaining exposure, and you're learning on the job experience that you can then apply into your first ever job. Unpaid internships can bring so much value, and they can translate into paid internships as well as paid roles. So it's really to think out of the box by being aware of the different types of opportunities out there for you. Now there's a lot of opportunities that have opened up in remote work and freelancing. Can you use your current skill to start to earn an income before you get a formal job? You need to think like an entrepreneur and think of solving problems with the skills that you've already developed. So there are different places in which you can look for opportunities depending on the space that you are in. There are some job application sites that are specific to industry, and that there are some that are across the board. I'm just going to mention a few. The Virtual Grad Expo that you're attending is a very great place for you to start looking for opportunities, learning about companies, researching and meeting people. LinkedIn has so much information for you to see, for you to learn, and for you to actually engage with people who are in the spaces that you want to go into. PNet, Indeed, Crayon, these are all sites. Careers24, Recruiter Grad, OffersIn, puffandpass.co.za, Student Village. There's so many sites, Trusted Interns, NGO Pulse, where you can go and load a profile and start to receive information on job applications that are open for opportunities that are suited for a candidate like you. So make sure that you are on a job site, on a couple of job sites, that your profile is complete and that it speaks to you as an individual and that it brings out your personal brand. And continue to update it. When you develop a skill, upload that skill and update your profile. So once you've done the reflection and you've done the research, then you're going to do a review. And this is pretty much where you are now looking for the right match of role and the right match of job that suits you. And I want to encourage you to work with quality over quantity. And so just going back to the first thing that I said, a lot of graduates are sending out many applications out of desperation, where they can't even remember if they were suited for the role, whether it was a company they wanted to work for, and whether whether it would actually be somewhere that in the long run they can gain good experience from. So you want to focus on quality over quantity. And I want to encourage you to be brave enough to do this, because a lot of the times when you aren't finding work, you just want to spray and pray. but I want to encourage you to stop and actually do a review and match yourself to the opportunities you're applying to. So how are you going to do that? You're going to shortlist the top 5 roles that were of interest to you while you were researching. Look at the pros and cons of each of the jobs in this role. Can you match your strengths to these opportunities that stand out to you? What are the skills or experience gaps that you're finding that you need to fill? Is it a conversation you need to speak to someone to further understand a certain item in the requirements that you weren't really understanding whether you meet or not? Was it going to actually develop that skill? Or was it gaining some sort of work experience that maybe you could do on a volunteer basis? Reach out to people on LinkedIn at your career center and investigate these roles further. Then you want to do a traffic light system. And here, what you're basically going to do is you're going to highlight of the roles that you have and the experience and the skills that they were requiring that you would have listed and recorded for you to then highlight in green where you have 100% experience and use an orange highlighter, whether it's on Excel or on paper, where you have moderate experience or room for growth. And then you're going to use a red highlighter where you have no experience. And so for these 5 roles that you've eyed out and you've looked at the experience and the skills that they're looking for, you're going to then build your traffic light system for you to be able to see whether these roles are actually aligned with you, your experience, your skills, and you're going to be critically analyzing to see, does this match your interests? Is this somewhere where you can see yourself working? Because by doing this, when you get to interview stage, you will be in a good position to gun for the role, to speak to your strengths and to be able to highlight areas where you feel you could grow and where you'd like to grow in the organization. So this review is really going to serve you in so many ways. In some cases, you'll find that you've been applying for roles that your experience does not quite match for. And there you can start to either see this as a role that is a role that you can aspire to in the next 2 to 5 years or the next 5 to 8 years. And then what you're going to do is you're going to research the experience that they are asking. So if they're asking for you to have 5 years experience in X role, you're then going to reach out to people on LinkedIn who have been in this role to say, what type of jobs should I be searching for? To get this experience that is being asked, if it's an entry-level position. If it's a graduate role, you can reach out to graduates and say, how can I go about positioning myself to get this opportunity that I have identified? So your traffic light system is really there to show you areas where you can get more information, areas where you can grow and develop, and also help you to build a career map to see what roles are actually aligned to you right now and what roles you'd like to apply to in the future. LinkedIn is a tool that is very, very useful when it comes to job searching. I definitely have spoken about other career sites that you can visit, but LinkedIn is a valuable tool. 84% of graduate recruiters used LinkedIn in 2019 to source candidates in South Africa. 78% of graduates placed on programs used LinkedIn for job hunting. So this should tell you that this platform is a key platform to have a profile on, make sure your profile looks beautiful, and make sure that you support your profile by engaging and networking with people in the spaces that you want to fill. So make sure your brand stands out through a powerful LinkedIn profile. And I just want to speak to job hunting fails. This is the last portion of this video where I just want you to know what people who are struggling to find work often fail to do. So research, like I've spoken about, is a very important thing for you to do. And you find a lot of people fail to find opportunities because they aren't doing adequate research. Incomplete application on job sites and application tracking systems. Make sure your applications are 100% complete with all your information. Having an incomplete LinkedIn profile really is not working in your favor. Not networking effectively. Having a poor elevator pitch. Being able to sell yourself when it matters the most. When you've got the attention of a recruiter or a manager in a company that you want to, a department you want to enter, being able to have an elevator pitch that can just sell you. A lack of a brand presence. You might be sending your CV out, but you don't have any online profiles that people can actually search and get to know a bit more about you. Failure to customize your CV and cover letter. Sending out a generic CV to 1,000 companies without intentionally matching yourself and using keywords to display that you are aligned to those roles. That's very important. Making sure a cover letter is requested, you're selling yourself, and you're putting your personal brand out, aligned to who you are, and moving away from a generic approach to a more targeted approach. A lack of resilience. A lot of people get overwhelmed, they get job search fatigue, and they give up. But you have to keep going until you find your opportunity. Seek support where necessary, but a lack of resilience is also a big one. Starting to feel disheartened. It takes resilience to find your dream job. I've spoken about generic applications, misalignment to jobs being applied for. Make sure that you are aligned, it aligns with your values, your skills, your experience. And a lack of creativity. Be creative in your job search. Approach your job search as if you were running a business. Create a leads list, a list of companies you want to apply for. Be creative in how you go about engaging with these organizations. Don't just send your CV and cover letter. Reach out to them. Share solutions with them. Learn more about these companies and position yourself in a way that differentiates you. And lastly, I just want to end off by saying, be yourself authentically. I hope these skills and these tips will help you in finding a more effective approach to your job hunting and that you land your dream job. I wish you all the best. Take care.